Your Ford might already have remote start built into it, and you have no idea. I am not talking about a fancy upgrade or some aftermarket gadget from Amazon. I am talking about a feature that Ford engineered directly into your vehicle's computer system, but never told you about during delivery, never mentioned in the sales pitch, and buried so deep in the technical documentation that most owners go the entire life of their vehicle without ever discovering it. I have been working on Fords for over 15 years, and this particular hidden feature has blown the minds of hundreds of truck and SUV owners who walked into my shop completely unaware that their key fob could start their engine from the driveway. But here is where it gets interesting. There are over 24 states in America where using this feature the wrong way could technically get you fined or even cited for a misdemeanor. Most owners have no clue about these legal restrictions, and Ford certainly is not warning you about them. Today we are revealing everything about this hidden remote start capability, how to unlock it, how to use it properly, and the legal traps that could cost you money if you are not careful. We are also going to cover the security features Ford built into the system that most people misunderstand, the settings buried in your dashboard menus that customize how the feature works, and a simple plug-in module that costs around $200 and gives your basic 3-button key fob full remote start capability without cutting a single wire. Let's get into it. Most Ford owners look at their key fob and see 3 or 4 buttons: lock, unlock, maybe a trunk release, and that panic alarm button you have accidentally hit in your pocket at least once. What they do not realize is that Ford builds remote start hardware into far more vehicles than you would expect. Starting around 2020, most Ford trucks and sport utility vehicles equipped with the FordPass Connect modem already have the telematics module that supports remote starting. The hardware is physically sitting inside your vehicle right now. The cellular modem that communicates with Ford servers, the body control module that processes the start command, and the relay systems that engage the ignition sequence, all of it is already installed. Ford simply does not activate certain features, or it does not give you the key fob with the right buttons to use them. This is where the story gets frustrating for a lot of owners. When you order a Ford without the remote start package, you are not getting a vehicle that lacks the physical ability to start remotely. You are getting a vehicle where the software configuration tells the system to ignore the start command from your key fob. The dealership charges anywhere from $300 to $600 for the remote start option, which in many cases is nothing more than a different key fob and a software activation. The actual hardware difference between a truck with remote start and one without is often just the key fob itself and a few lines of code in the body control module. Now, for vehicles that did come with factory remote start, the process is straightforward but not exactly intuitive. You press the lock button on your key fob once to lock the doors. Then you press the remote start button, the one with the circular arrow or the 2X symbol, and you press it twice. The exterior lights flash twice to confirm the engine is started. The vehicle will run for 5, 10, or 15 minutes depending on what duration you have set in the vehicle settings menu. On most models, the default is 10 minutes. The engine starts, the climate control activates based on your last settings or your programmed preferences, and the vehicle sits there warming up or cooling down while the doors remain locked. Nobody can drive away with it because the vehicle cannot be shifted out of park without the actual key fob physically present inside the cabin. Even if someone broke in through the window while the engine was running, they could not move the truck an inch. The moment they try to put it in gear without the key fob detected inside, the engine shuts off immediately. Ford's Secure Lock system keeps the immobilizer active the entire time the vehicle is remote started. This is not a security risk. This is actually one of the safest ways to warm up your vehicle because the doors are locked and the anti-theft system is fully engaged. But here's what most owners don't know. You don't need the fancy 5-button key fob with the dedicated remote start button to start your Ford remotely. Ford sells an official accessory called the Perimeter Plus Vehicle Security System. The Perimeter Plus module plugs directly into your vehicle's OBD2 port wiring harness with no cutting, no splicing, and no permanent modifications to your truck. Once installed, your existing 3-button or 4-button key fob gains remote start capability through a simple button sequence. Press lock, then unlock, then lock again in quick succession, and the engine fires up. Lock, unlock. That's it. Your basic key fob that Ford said couldn't start the engine now starts the engine. The module costs around $200 from Ford dealers or authorized parts sellers online. Installation takes about 10 to 15 minutes because it's a direct plug-in connection. No special tools required. Some models need a quick software activation through the dealership or through FORScan, but many are truly plug-and-play right out of the box. Plug. The Perimeter Plus module also adds a 2-stage shock sensor to your security system. If someone bumps your vehicle hard enough, it triggers either a warning chirp or a full alarm depending on the severity of the impact. The part number varies by model year, but for most F-150s from 2015 through the current generation, you can search for the Ford Perimeter Plus vehicle security system and find the correct application. Ford even sells this on their official accessories website, though they do not advertise it prominently. There's another path to unlocking remote start that doesn't require any additional hardware at all. Ford's FordPass smartphone app offers remote start functionality for vehicles equipped with the FordPass Connect modem, which comes standard on most 2020 and newer models. The app is free to download, and unlike certain competitors who charge monthly subscriptions for remote start through their phone apps, Ford currently offers remote start through FordPass as a complimentary feature with no subscription required. You download the app, create an account, enter your vehicle's VIN, and once the app connects to your truck, you can start the engine from your phone. It doesn't matter if you're standing in your kitchen, sitting in your office, or on the other side of the country. As long as your vehicle has cellular reception and the modem is active, you can start the engine, lock or unlock the doors, check your tire pressure, monitor fuel level, and even schedule recurring start times. Some owners set their truck to auto start every weekday morning at 6:45, so it's warmed up and ready when they walk out the door at 7. The app also lets you extend the runtime by an additional cycle once the engine is running. If you set the default to 15 minutes, you can add another 15 minutes through the app for a total of 30 minutes of unattended runtime. Ford's system allows a maximum extended runtime of up to 35 minutes total when using the key fob method. Now let's talk about the part that nobody discusses, and that Ford definitely doesn't put in their marketing materials: the legal issues surrounding remote start and unattended idling. According to the EPA, more than 24 states have laws on the books that limit how long a vehicle can idle unattended. These anti-idling laws were originally designed to reduce air pollution and prevent vehicle theft, but they apply equally to vehicles started with remote start systems. In some jurisdictions, leaving your vehicle running unattended for any length of time can result in fines ranging from written warnings to $250 or more per offense. Washington, D.C. has one of the strictest policies, with potential fines up to $5,000 for idling longer than 3 minutes. Colorado restricts idling to about 10 minutes in certain counties. California limits unattended idling to 5 consecutive minutes. Some states like Illinois have laws against leaving a car running unattended on public property, though certain cities within those states have carved out exceptions specifically for remote-started vehicles where the doors remain locked. The logic is that if the doors are locked and the vehicle cannot be driven without the key, it is not truly unattended in the traditional sense. But not every jurisdiction sees it that way. If you're enjoying this information, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because we're about to get into the settings most owners never touch that completely change how your remote start system behaves. Here's where Ford really buries the good stuff. Deep inside your vehicle's settings menu, there are remote start configuration options that most owners never discover because they do not know to look for them. These settings let you customize exactly how your vehicle behaves during a remote start cycle, and getting them right makes the difference between a vehicle that is perfectly comfortable when you climb in and one that is still blasting cold air when you need heat. To access these settings on most models, navigate to Settings on your touchscreen or instrument cluster, then select Vehicle, then Remote Start. Within this menu, you will find duration settings that let you choose between 5, 10, or 15 minutes of runtime. Most people leave this at the default 10 minutes, but if you live in an extremely cold climate, bumping it to 15 minutes gives the engine more time to reach operating temperature and properly heat the cabin. If you are in a milder climate, 5 minutes might be plenty and saves fuel. The climate control behavior during remote start is another setting that most owners never adjust. On many Ford models, you can choose between automatic climate mode or last settings mode. Automatic mode targets about 72 degrees Fahrenheit and adjusts the system to heat or cool based on current conditions. Last settings mode runs the climate system exactly as you left it when you last shut off the engine. If you had the heat cranked to maximum with the seat heater on high, that is exactly what it does during remote start. If you turned everything off before exiting, the remote start runs with climate off, which defeats the whole purpose. For vehicles with heated seats, heated steering wheels, or cooled seats, there are additional options within the remote start climate menu that let you enable or disable these features during the remote start cycle. On cold mornings, having the heated seats and heated steering wheel activate automatically during remote start means the cabin is not only warm, but the surfaces you touch are warm too. These settings exist on most Ford trucks and SUVs from 2015 and newer, but Ford does not walk you through them during delivery because the service advisor is busy trying to sell you floor mats and extended warranties. FORScan opens up configuration options that Ford does not expose through the normal settings menus. FORScan is a software application designed specifically for Ford vehicles that connects through your vehicle's OBD2 port using an adapter cable that costs about $30 to $50. The software itself is free for basic functions, with an extended license available for more advanced features. Using FORScan, you can enable remote start functionality in the body control module if your vehicle has the hardware but not the software activation. You can enable the remote start climate settings menu on the instrument cluster even if it was not showing before. You can toggle options for the rear defroster to activate during remote start, set the heated steering wheel to engage automatically, and adjust other parameters that the factory settings menu simply does not show you. The FORScan community is enormous, with dedicated forums for every Ford model where owners share specific configuration codes and step-by-step instructions for enabling features. Many owners have successfully added remote start functionality to their vehicles using nothing more than FORScan, an OBD2 adapter, and a compatible key fob, all for under $100 total. That is compared to the $300 to $600 the dealership charges for the same result. One important caution with FORScan: always save your original settings before making any changes. FORScan gives you the ability to back up your current module configuration so you can restore everything to factory defaults if something does not work as expected. Some dealerships have been known to refuse warranty work on vehicles with heavily modified FORScan configurations, so document your changes carefully. There is another remote start trick that can save you in emergencies, and it ties directly into the key fob start feature that most owners overlook. When your key fob battery dies, most people panic because they think they are stranded. But your Ford has a backup start system built in. Vehicles with push-button start have a small slot or a marked area inside the center console, usually near the cup holders or inside the console storage bin. This slot has a key fob icon embossed next to it. If your key fob battery is completely dead, hold the fob directly against this slot and press the push-button start. The fob contains a passive RFID chip that requires no battery power. It transmits a weak signal at extremely close range, that the vehicle receiver can detect. Even with a stone-dead battery, the fob will authenticate against the vehicle immobilizer and allow the engine to start normally. For older Fords with a traditional key ignition, there is a physical metal key blade hidden inside the key fob itself. Look for a small release button or slider on the fob housing. Press it and a metal key slides out that will unlock your door and start the ignition mechanically. This emergency backup has saved countless Ford owners from calling locksmiths or tow trucks, yet most people do not discover it until they are standing in a parking lot in the rain with a dead fob, wondering why nobody told them about this. Now let's address the security side of remote start, because this is where misinformation runs rampant. Some people believe that remote starting your vehicle makes it easier to steal. That is completely false for Ford's factory and original equipment manufacturer remote start systems. When your Ford is remote started, several security layers remain fully active. The doors lock automatically as part of the start sequence. The vehicle's Securi-Lock passive anti-theft system remains engaged, which means the engine will not allow the transmission to shift out of park unless a properly programmed key fob is detected inside the cabin. If someone breaks a window and climbs in, the moment they press the brake pedal or try to shift into drive, the engine immediately shuts off. The alarm system triggers. The vehicle becomes undrivable. Ford engineered the remote start system specifically so that starting the engine does not compromise vehicle security in any way. In fact, in states like Colorado, where it is technically illegal to leave an unattended vehicle running with the keys in the ignition, remote start systems are often the legal alternative because the keys are not in the vehicle and the vehicle cannot be operated without them. For the newest Ford trucks, specifically select 2024 and newer F-150 and Super Duty models, Ford introduced the security package, which includes a feature called Start Inhibit. Through the FordPass app, you can remotely lock down your vehicle so that it cannot be started at all, even if someone has an authorized key fob nearby. This is a complete engine immobilizer that you control from your phone. If your keys get stolen, you activate Start Inhibit and nobody is driving your truck anywhere. The security package also includes theft alerts that notify you through the app if someone tries to access, start, move, or factory reset your vehicle. Ford even offers a dedicated phone number staffed by live agents who will work directly with law enforcement to track and recover your vehicle if it is stolen. And if the worst happens and your truck does get stolen while enrolled in the security package, Ford offers deductible reimbursement up to $2,500 to cover your insurance costs. This level of connected security simply did not exist 5 years ago, and it all ties back to the same telematics hardware that enables the remote start feature most owners do not know they have. Let's talk about what happens to your engine during remote start, because there is a lot of bad information floating around. Some mechanics claim remote starting is hard on your engine because it encourages extended idling. Here is the truth. Modern fuel-injected engines do not need to warm up at idle the way older carbureted engines did. Your Ford engine reaches operating temperature much faster under light driving load than it does sitting still in the driveway. The remote start feature is designed to bring the cabin to a comfortable temperature, not to fully warm the engine. Ford sets the maximum single cycle runtime at 15 minutes specifically because that is more than enough time to get the cabin comfortable without excessive idle time. Running the remote start for one 10 to 15 minute cycle before driving is perfectly fine for your engine. Problems arise when people chain multiple remote start cycles together, letting the engine idle for 30, 40, or even 60 minutes. That is when you start seeing issues with fuel dilution in the oil, carbon buildup on direct injection intake valves, and unnecessary wear on the starter motor and battery. The AGM batteries found in most modern Fords are designed to handle the electrical demands of remote start, but repeatedly running long idle sessions puts additional strain on those batteries. A healthy AGM battery costs $250 to $400 to replace, so taking care of it by not abusing the remote start system saves you money. One cycle per use is the sweet spot, Start it, let it run for 10 to 15 minutes, then drive. That is exactly how Ford designed the system to be used. Here is one more trick that ties everything together. You can extend your remote start run time without walking out to the vehicle. Repeat the start sequence from your key fob, lock the doors, then press the remote start button twice. If you have the Perimeter Plus module, use the lock, unlock, then lock sequence. The system adds another full duration cycle to the remaining time. If you set the duration to 10 minutes and you have been running for 7 minutes, restarting adds another 10 minutes for a total of 13 remaining minutes. Ford allows you to extend up to 35 minutes total this way. Through the FordPass app, you can also add time with a single tap on the screen, and you do not need to be within key fob range to do it. Take a few minutes this weekend and check your Ford for remote start capability. Look at your key fob for a circular arrow or a 2x button. Download the FordPass app and see if remote start appears as an option. Check your vehicle settings menu for remote start duration and climate options. If your vehicle has the FordPass Connect modem but no remote start button on the fob, look into the Perimeter Plus module or explore FORScan to see what is possible. The hardware is very likely already in your vehicle. Ford just did not tell you about it. And if you do use remote start, check your state's idling laws so a feature that is supposed to save you from freezing does not end up costing you a fine. If you found this valuable, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and drop a comment telling me whether you knew your Ford had this hidden capability. Also, make sure you check out this video where I reveal more Ford settings that most owners get wrong. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.